Shit, I was going to start this one with a song. What was it? Oh, man. There was it was a Backstreet Boys song that I was going to start this with. Everybody. That one. It was that one. Damn it, I forgot. Welcome to Respawn Aim Fire.
Coming next week, we'll do that.
The kick-ass irreverent gaming podcast with myself, Chad Michael Innes.
And Chad Michael Innes is... Oh, I'm Holden
Chad Michael Innes too.
I'm actually Holden. I forgot that for a second.
Do you remember that movie... not After Earth. That's a Scientology movie.
That was a great movie.
What's the one where it came out like 2 years ago and there's a girl and there's like an alternate Earth?
Oh, Another Earth.
Is it Another Earth? Is that another?
It's just called Another Earth. Yeah, I've never seen it.
I haven't either. I saw the trailer and was like, that looks interesting, but I probably won't see it. And I was right.
You still have the chance.
I predicted the future. I'm a fucking not a seance, sir. That's not a thing. Shut up. Welcome, and we're going to talk about games today. And Rugrats. Who knows what could be in store? We have, holy shit, the most amount of news we've ever had. Ever. Which is weird because going into today, you know, like I add throughout the week as I read stories, I'm like, oh, boop, share, hit to the add to Instapaper, boop, add to Instapaper. And then going into today, I was like, you know what? It was a really light news week. And then I go in here and see there are 9,423 stories for today.
I think it was because of me. I got this new like RSS feed app, and I put a bunch of sites into it.
It's pronounced Reese's feed.
It's Reese's feed. And I just started, that is, because I got a push notification saying, hey, this story happened. I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. Send to Instapaper. And I just kept sending things. I'm like, oh my God, it's so many. So
that's why.
There were a lot of duplicates too, because I think we were both excited for the Spider-Man news that happened. We both were sharing the same articles.
Spider-Man!
So we'll talk about that too.
Oh, it's Gene! That's
Gene
the second
Parmesan.
time I've done on this podcast.
It's okay. Resident Development did it at least 100 times.
So here's the thing.
They did it perfectly each time.
You're right. I didn't listen to what you said, but I'm sure you're right. All right. So we were going to start out the week with, Weekly Forum. Talk about what, just kind of like some housekeeping stuff. One, reminder that April's photo mode ends on Sunday night, this upcoming Sunday, April 15th. Submit your shit. Competition right now is really, really slim. But
there is one really great one there.
Yeah, there's one really great one there. I was going to say, there are a few, but I was like, no, you guys can search the hashtag. You can see all of the things that have been submitted.
Credit to the King Snow.
Yeah, Jerson.
But he's
it's fucking great.
King of Snow is a great name, though.
It's Monster Hunter and me eating a beast.
Is that a Game of Thrones reference, King Snow? Because Jon Snow and...
Holden's really gotten into Game of Thrones recently after a decade of saying, I don't understand I'm never going to watch Game of Thrones. People are saying it's so good. And I
first season, and then I'm like, this is good. It's not for me. And then I was convinced to try season 2 and go further. And then my life is over.
Yep. The King of the North.
I'm hooked.
Alrighty then. So, yes, pinned tweet, go to the website, find the pictures of me, put them on your favorite game shit. Twitter poll on Monday. Great. Speaking of Twitter poll on Monday, yesterday was Monday. We had a Twitter poll.
One yesterday.
This one was not related to photo mode. But let's read the results from this Twitter poll. Which Nickelodeon cartoon do you want a Rockstar game style open world game of? Here were the submissions. Rugrats, The Wild Thornberrys, Rocket Power, and House of a Thousand Corpses.
I loved watching House of Thousand Corpses on Nickelodeon as a kid.
Actually, technically, it doesn't fall into this because it was a Nick Jr. show. But
it was on like the young kids one, Noggin. It was on that one.
Yes. Winner was Rugrats with 38%. Then Wild Thornberrys with 31%. House of a Thousand Corpses took 19% of the vote, and Rocket Power was 13%.
What did you vote for, Chad, and why?
I voted for Wild Thornberrys. I thought it would be a really kick-ass show to be like, first of all, you're talking to animals. Excellent. NPCs, animals all over the goddamn place. But like hunting, puzzle solving with animal friends. Can you imagine how cool that would be if you could control Darwin the monkey to go like fucking fetch bananas in a tree? Or he was really smart, so I'm sure he could do things other than bananas in a tree. But I think that would be fucking awesome. What did you vote for?
I took the opposite. I was between Rocket Power and Rugrats. Like, Rocket Power takes place in, like, a little, like, coastal place, kind of like Vice City almost.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, no, it's Rugrats. And here's why. It makes so much sense for Rockstar. They did the Grand Theft Auto, adults doing crimes. And then they did Bully, teenagers doing crimes. And they go to Rugrats, little babies committing crimes in their open world home.
Well, here's the thing.
Boom.
We don't know a whole lot about Red Dead Redemption 2. But there was...
Are you saying it could be Rugrats?
There was the High Noon episode of Rugrats where Tommy had the cowboy hat. There was no shadow time. There was the kid who was angry, who was mean and pushing people down, chewed the bubble gum. And then Tommy poked the bubble with his popsicle stick. Boom. Bubblegum all over the kid's face and in the kid's hair. He had to go home and get a haircut. The next day he comes back and Tommy says, "What you eating?" And the kid goes, "Carrot sticks. You want one?" Boom. Totally turned him into a pussy. But the whole thing was Western themed. And I'm just saying, this is a prequel. We know it's a prequel.
This is why we do this, for the hot scoops. Rugrats is going to be the highlight of Red Dead Redemption 2 coming out in October. 2 hot ice cream
scoops. Also, fun fact, heat up your ice cream scoop with warm water and it makes your ice creams easier to scoop.
Or you just microwave your ice cream for like 20 seconds.
Or microwave the scoop and burn your house down.
Don't do that one. Don't do that one.
I am a fan of microwaving your ice cream, though. All right. So, because we have so many quests today in our quest log, thank God we have so little to talk about in Playtime. Holden. Playtime with Holden. Tell me what you played.
Well, I played Metro 2033 because that is our BARF this month. So I played that, but I'm not going to talk about that yet. We'll talk about that at the end of April. I played more of Master Mode in Breath of the Wild. I've been kind of hooked on that as well. I'm not going to talk, again, I've talked so much about Zelda, I'm not going to go too much into it, but I'm still finding little tiny details that I didn't notice before. Like, I was in the desert, and there's the Mogdala, like the thing that swims under the sand.
Okay.
And it was, every time I used the bombs...
Did you ever finish Shadow of the Colossus?
Shut up. No.
Stop playing Zelda and play Shadow of the Colossus, goddammit.
But it's Zelda. The Mogdala's usually, or Mogdula, whatever it is.
Amygdala.
Mogdala.
Bloodborne. Amygdala. Also, in your head, it's the thing that's responsible for balance. Amygdala.
When you are... That's the amygdala, not Mogdala. Mogdala, so when it's swimming towards you, I always threw a bomb and then released the bomb before it got to me, just a little bit.
Okay.
But if you wait, it eats the bomb, then you can blow it up inside of it. Didn't notice a tiny little detail, but it's there. Sometimes there's huge things, but just kind of like small things I really appreciate. Like when Link whistles the horse, he actually moves his hands in rhythm to the whistle to get the horse.
Like that?
Just like that you can't see because you're not watching this FaceTime feed of Chad's beautiful face.
Why not? Everyone is invited to this FaceTime feed.
Maybe one day we'll do a live recording of us talking.
No, we won't. Who do you think we are? Barack Obama?
No, we're both
He's the
beautiful
only one cool
people,
enough
Chad.
to do live FaceTimes. Nice. So you played Breath of the Wild and Metro. I only played Metro. Played Metro 2033. And again, that is our BARF, Backlog Accomplishment with Respawn and Friends. You guys still have 2 weeks. We're talking about this in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You have 2 weeks to catch up, play Metro 2033 with us, and then let us know your thoughts, and we'll discuss it in 2 weeks. That is how you transition to our quest log. Let's stop beating around the bush and start beating off these quests. Holden, who we jerking off first?
Let's start with our kind of quick stories or fetch quests of the week. There's a ton of stuff to talk about. I want to start with one that's smaller but exciting to me. Is that the game Wargroove, which is an independent...
Hold, please.
What?
What's the difference between a metric ton and an actual ton?
I have no idea.
In my head, at first guess, actual ton, 2,000 pounds. Metric ton, 1,000 kilograms?
24.
Which is actually 2,200 pounds. You talk about whatever you're talking about. I'm going to Google that. And that'll be my contribution to Fetch Quests.
So Wargroove got a kind of a release window for the second half of this year.
I was right.
You were right? Very cool. Yeah. It is a Fire Emblem-like game that looks like Advance Wars did on the Game Boy Advance. It's not made by the same team that does Fire Emblem, but it kind of has the same feel to it. Really excited about it. It's supposed to come out summer of last year, but I guess they postponed it. Super pumped about it. It's going to be great.
Groovy. Get it?
So that's kind of something I'm excited about coming up.
Here we go. Mega Man X Legacy Collection 1 and 2 that was announced a while ago, coming July 24th. I actually enjoy these games more than I do the regular ones. Man, that was a lot of noises at once.
It was. What is the difference between Mega Man and Mega Man X? I've not played any Mega Man games before.
Mega Man X is more of a run and gun than like a platformer. It also has Zero.
Okay.
He looks different. That's about it. That's all I know.
Sounds
really.
exciting.
It's a little
Sounds
bit
like
more
a lot of fun.
accessible. It's a little easier.
I know the Mega Man games in general are pretty hard.
Yeah.
Are pretty difficult.
But mostly Zero's just a badass, cool character with a beam sword and long hair. So.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Let's jump into some game announcements. There's a ton of game announcements.
Okay. Yeah.
this
Just
week.
rattle off some game announcements. Go.
Seriously, Firewatch was announced for Switch.
Oh man, here's the thing. Yesterday, I thought to myself, Chad, you're going to sit down and you're going to play Firewatch today. I had the day off work. I was like, great, this is a 4-hour game. I'm going to knock it out all in one day. And then I had the thought, wait a minute. My best friend's coming into town next Sunday. He's going to be here for 5 days. And then God of War's coming out that next Friday. And I'm going to play that. And I'm not going to have any time to play Metro. So now I have to fucking play Metro when I really wanted to play Fortnite. Not Fortnite. What is this? Firewatch.
Firewatch, yeah.
So I was going to play Firewatch so that I could continue the trend of playing all of the games on PlayStation to preview them for you when you play them on Switch. With that,
I've played
Wolfenstein
Firewatch
2.
already.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Great.
We talked about it on this podcast, yeah.
Did you? I don't listen to this podcast.
I'm concerned. It doesn't run very well on the PlayStation 4. They're
Doesn't
apparently
it?
having to like rebuild assets from the ground
Oh, it's
up.
okay. It's only on Switch Pro.
Switch Pro.
No, they actually, with the Switch release, they did say that they reworked a lot of it, that it actually loads faster on the Switch than it did on the rest of them, and those changes will be coming to them.
I just said that.
Holden, I already told you, I just said I don't listen to this podcast, even while we're recording it. Oh, man.
Some more game announcements we have. Yokai Watch 4 was announced. Even though the third one has not come to the US yet, they're already talking about Yokai Watch 4 coming this year to Switch.
Okay.
Which kind of continues that trend
that
of Level
Japan
5
only?
saying it's all... Yeah, it's Japan only.
Gotcha.
The trend of Level 5 just saying it's all going to be Switch from here on out.
Oh, that's right. Did we mention that last week?
We did, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we did.
Everything
Dragon
after
Quest,
Ni no Kuni 2, right?
pretty much, yeah. Dragon Quest VR was also announced. It's going to be coming out the end of this month, and no game footage has been released.
What?
Dragon Quest VR, yeah.
Keep talking about whatever you're talking about. I'm going to Google that.
There's nothing to look at. There's a trailer that shows people using it, but not actual footage of what Dragon Quest VR looks
coming
like.
to Japan.
Yeah, it's coming to Japan
damn it.
only, and I don't think... It's just in Instapaper if you want to look it up. There.
But why does
it's-
Japan get everything great? They get VR Mario Kart.
They do get VR Mario Kart. It's pretty badass. But it's because Dragon Quest and Yokai Watch are from Japanese developers. They're going to go there first, because that's what we know.
So?
But if you want a game that is coming to America... Do you want a game that's coming to America, Chad?
I don't know. Is it good?
Divinity Original Sin 2. Which
I actually
was,
heard a lot of good things about that, and I saw
Yeah.
that today, and I'm like, maybe that'll be
it's
the first
cool.
Divinity
When I say it's
game
coming to America, it's coming to PS4 and Xbox One. But I've heard... it was on a lot of Game of the Year
It was,
lists
like
last
best
year.
RPGs.
It's supposed to be very, very good.
Yes.
So I'm interested in seeing that.
Yes.
There's some more game announcements.
Here's another one. Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery coming to
Yes.
mobile April 25th. Now, calm down. This is not the Pokemon Go Harry Potter game.
No.
This is the you go to Hogwarts, learn spells, blah, 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 blah Harry Potter game. Coming April 25th, and 6 actors, including Dumbledore, McGonagall, Flitwick. A bunch of people are coming back.
Yeah,
to do
I'll
this.
name them off right here, actually. So we're going to have Professor McGonagall, Professor Flitwick, Professor Dumbledore, Madame Irma Pince, Madame Pomfrey, and Madame Hooch. All those actors are coming back to portray
Hooch is
themselves.
crazy. That's from Scrubs.
It basically is recreating your own personal journey to Hogwarts, taking classes, that kind of stuff, but on your mobile phone.
Mobile phone. The
should be
trailer
very
for it looks super generic.
Yeah, it does. It looks not special at all.
Oh shit! Detective Pikachu demo available.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Available now. Tell you what.
I'm gonna get that. It's just the tutorial.
You keep talking. I'm gonna grab my 3DS and download that.
It is basically just going to be a tutorial for the game. The idea is they want to give you a quick tease and then show you a little bit of like Pikachu's personality in the game.
Pikachu's personality. Hey, you want to watch me smoke?
He does sound like that, though.
He does.
I'll download the demo. I'll try it out. You are already downloading it, so you're very excited.
Got my 3DS here. Very
Your
accessible.
fancy Majora's Mask
And how-
3DS.
I know, right? So sexy. Although the back gold plating is peeling off.
I don't know how that happened. I have the same 3DS as you, and I play mine probably way more than you do.
I got sweaty balls. What can I say?
You got shorty balls?
Dane Deezy's sweaty
Well, while
balls.
you're downloading that, we'll talk about new Pokemon was revealed. Not the Switch game, just a new Pokemon for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon was announced.
Yes. What's his name?
Sort of the Z.
It's something electric.
Yeah, it's an electric type
new
Pokemon.
Mythical Pokemon along the same vein of like Mew and Celebi and things like that.
Yes. I'm going to butcher this. Zerora.
Great.
And it's the Thunderclap Pokemon.
Thunderclap. What's interesting, he does not actually have any organs that generate electricity, but he uses the nodes on his hands and his feet to gather electricity from the area around him.
Aren't you the expert on this?
Just saying. Just saying.
Just know your shit.
I know my shit.
I'm
a Pokemon biologist.
Disappointed when they hear the news, new Pokemon's being, because this is how they announce Pokemon games, is they announce one new Pokemon that's going to be in that game.
Yeah.
And people are talking about how Pokemon come out this year, and like, hey, we're going to announce a new Pokemon for the old game. It just sounds, it's just super strange.
Yeah.
But whatever, they do them.
Super Life is Strange.
Speaking of that, Pokemon may be coming out at the end of this year. The GameStop CEO said that Switch will have a very, very strong, and he said that very, very strong.
Two varies.
2018, thanks to unannounced titles. So games that aren't Smash, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Very curious what that's going to be. People are speculating, there's not a lot of weight behind it, but speculating that it's going to be Mario Maker 2 is coming to Switch, which I'm sure will come to Switch.
Of course, it's ripe for...
It's going to. I guess it's only saying this because Wii U didn't have a huge following, and Mario Maker didn't make a huge statement, even though it was loved by people who played it. Because it was on Wii U, it didn't have this huge statement.
Right.
So I don't know if you could really say it's going to be... I don't think it means the same thing as a new Mario Bros. Game coming out.
Oh, absolutely not.
So I don't think that counts as very, very strong to me. Like, I would think an Animal Crossing... Because Animal Crossing, I didn't know this till recently. Do you know how many copies Animal Crossing sold?
I'm going to guess 16.
New Leaf? 16?
Yeah.
Total copies?
Yeah, total copies. And then all 15 of your other DSs that you bought.
Serious number, what do you think you got?
3 million.
12 million.
What system was it on?
3DS.
Okay. I was about to say, if it was on Wii U and it sold literally almost 100%
Every
attach
single
rate.
Wii U owner bought it. No, there was no Wii U Animal Crossing game. But I think Animal Crossing could pull that kind of number in. I don't know if Super Mario Maker 2 could. I don't think people want to create levels.
I don't know.
But that's just me. I didn't get it for that reason, so...
You're a reason.
What else we got, Chad?
We've also got God of War embargo is lifting this Thursday at midnight, so all the reviews will be going up. Everybody's going to be jizzing their tits off, and
which is a good sign.
I've
not been vocal about this, but I've been concerned about God of War. But this is a really good sign. If they're releasing the reviews a whole week before the game comes out, it's because Sony feels pretty damn confident in how well that game's going to do.
Yeah! I can't fucking wait. Got that shit pre-ordered. I'm going to get off work on the 20th. I'm going to go home and I'm going to play. And then Saturday's going to come the next day and I'm going to play. And then I have the following Tuesday off and I'm going to fucking play. And I'll talk about all of it on Tuesday.
Not next Tuesday, the Tuesday after.
I'm going to have it beat by the time we do BARF. I'm going to beat it for BARF. I'm going to play this instead of Metro for BARF. I'm just kidding. I have to have Metro finished before that.
You'll do it just fine. It's not a very long game.
All right, yeah, so that's a thing that's happening. Also, Resident Evil 7 sells over 5 million copies. That makes it very successful. I think their goal, they wanted it to sell, for some reason in my head, I have 7.5 million stuck in my head. Mm-hmm. That's how many I thought they wanted it to sell.
7.5 million is how many Monster Hunter sold in its first few months.
Oh, the Munsters.
Yes, the Munsters. Monster Hunter starting the
Monster Hunter. Herman Melville, Munster Man, Moby Dick. Is this what it's like when people are drunk? Is this what drunk is like?
You're just always wild and crazy on this show, Chad. Good. Not as wild and crazy as the amount of money Fortnite made in its first 20 days.
Whoa, tell me about it.
It made $15 million. It is already doing better than Candy Crushes in the App Store.
$15 million for a game that was until 2 days before that came out, invite only.
Yeah. So once
$15 million on mobile.
On April 2nd, when it became public and open to everyone, you didn't need an invitation, it made $1.8 million in that day.
Ugh.
That's craziness.
I almost popped that open today, and then I said, no, you have to create the graphics for this week's episode. So I did that instead.
I played PUBG. I've not played Fortnite yet on mobile. but I'm gonna try it.
Fortnite is eating up the conversation, and PUBG is just be like, oh, we're still here, I promise.
Yeah, it's kind of sad because we'll get to it. We have a story about PUBG.
Okay,
in
good.
The main
Ubisoft is opening a new studio in Winnipeg. Where's Winnipeg? I was raised in America,
Canada.
and I don't have good geography skills.
I had to look it up. Don't worry, it's in Canada.
Okay, good. I remember one
As
time
Americans, especially, we don't give a shit about Canada. So
I took a trip to Germany once, and I was in a small town called Wangen. I was having a conversation with a guy there, and he was telling me all about his town. We took a little walk, and he was telling me, oh, yeah, my kids go to this school, blah, blah, blah. This is our town. This is where we go about bees. Our town was founded here. These are the roads. This is how many people are in it. I was like, damn, you guys know a lot about your city. And he's like, yeah, tell me about your city. And I was like, he's like, how many people are in it? I was like, anywhere between 3,000 and 2 million? I don't know.
it's actually higher than that.
No, Chicago, and it was 3.5. At the time, I wasn't living in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
But I was like, I have no idea. That's a very wide... And,
like, there's a Starbucks around the corner from me, and people get coffee there.
People bank there. Yeah, so I felt like, wow, we are very uneducated about geography and knowledge of our country and cities.
It's okay, Chad.
But you know what? You can get a 10% discount on Spotify through PlayStation Plus.
That's like a Geico ad right there. It's okay, though.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Is
That's
that a
cool
thing?
little benefit.
How does that happen?
You have to...
Do you subscribe through the PlayStation Store?
Yeah, you have to download Spotify on your PlayStation 4. You cannot get it on a Vita. You cannot get it on PlayStation 3. Which is fine because I think most people at this point have a PlayStation 4 over those consoles. And you have to get Spotify through that. Sign up for it through that app on PlayStation 4.
Okay.
But if you don't want to do that, you don't have to do that. Instead, if you want to listen to the next story we have here, it's a cool one.
Okay.
That's the Division.
I'm listening.
The Division developer, Massive, is apparently working on a battle royale game.
Surprise.
Because we need another one.
Yeah.
We need one more.
That's
at least
the hot
one
new
more.
thing. I guarantee. Okay. I'm gonna save this.
You're gonna save this
for next week's episode. We're doing like a crazy E3 predictions episode before we get to legit E3 predictions in May.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna save this for that. I'm gonna write it down right now.
All right.
Everything battle royale. Everything.
Yeah, I'm not. We actually have in the quest log coming up, another big battle royale game that got announced this week. It's all over the place. Let's just wrap up these last two fetch quests, and then we'll get into the main stories for the week. One is that Disgaea Refine is coming to the Switch in July, again in Japan. Because all these games are coming to Japan.
Like, nobody even games in Japan anymore.
But it's okay because we don't have any games here. That's why we're all buying Far Cry 5. That's why Far Cry 5 is the fastest selling in its franchise thus far.
Transition. Not as good as my from earlier, but good.
All right, let's go and jump to some game potatoes before we get into the main stories here.
Spud me, Holden. Spud me.
So I love this story. Bethesda's up for more Switch games. Peter Hines, the marketing VP of Bethesda Studios, was asked about whether or not they'd be interested in porting more games to Switch ever. And the quotes are so... Like, I can't believe this is a story because the quotes are so... I just have nothing to tell you right now. Like, that's all the quotes. This is one of them right here. They ask if they're going to do any more ports, and he says, it'll depend on whether or not we think a game is a good fit for the platform technically, and whether we think it's something that audiences want on Switch. So basically, I'm not telling you anything, but if it's good, sure. And then he goes on to say, and this is where I think it's funny, this is even a story, it's literally no different than any other platform that we look at. So, like, why does it have anything to do with Switch? He then asked, are you going to make anything along the lines of Mario Rabbids, which is like a game for a Switch in particular? I don't know. We'll have to see.
Oh my gosh.
It's a really big waste of a story.
Slow news day
the whole point is, well, it's not a slow news day. There's
not
so
for us,
many news
maybe
stories
the
this week.
day that was published, maybe it was a slow news day.
Maybe, but I think it's funny because the whole gist of the article is, yeah, if we think it's a good idea, we'll put something on Switch. Really? You're going to put more games out on Switch? No. That's not what he said. The second game potato of the week is a Jay and Silent Bob video series in VR, which is going to be written, directed, and produced by Kevin Smith himself.
Great.
I like my least favorite characters that Kevin Smith has ever made. Also, I just don't want a VR movie with those characters at all. You're through the perspective of Silent Bob. and I guess you're just going to stand in front of a convenience store and sell people weed? Like, is that
Also,
the whole...
VR movies aren't good.
No, they're not. And I like Kevin Smith as a writer, but he's not a great filmmaker. So it's just like, none of that sounds very appealing. And then the last to segue into our main stories is that there's going to be no microtransactions in Spider-Man when it comes out this year. We'll get to that in a second. I'm just tired of hearing that games don't have microtransactions as a marketing ploy. It's just stupid.
I actually am excited for that, though, because this is a game that they could have chosen to take the path of, oh, you want this cool costume from the 70s? Yeah, that costs $1.99. Oh, you want the symbiote suit? Oh, yeah, that also costs $1.99. Like, they could have nickel-and-dimed you.
But PlayStation has said they don't like doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That they're above that. Insomniac doesn't have a track record for doing that kind of thing. And the only reason this is being talked about, to be fair, they were asked directly during the Game Informer reveal, are you planning to do microtransactions? They said, hell no. The quote, hell no. But it's just, why is this a point that every single game that doesn't have microtransactions, it gets this huge... It's like saying...
Because unfortunately, it's not the norm nowadays.
But is it really, though? Like, I don't think that most games have microtransactions. Do you think most games have microtransactions?
Most AAA games. Yeah, I think they do.
I would wonder...
Maybe not first-party Sony ones, but...
I haven't done research to look at kind of games and which ones have microtransactions, which ones don't.
Certainly
I know mobile,
in the zeitgeist.
It's the norm. Mobile, it's the norm, absolutely.
Whether it's the norm or whether everyone thinks it's the norm might be two different things.
And that's what I want to find out. Because I really don't think that's the case, but I wouldn't mind looking into it to see. But let's get on to the bigger thing, and that's the Spider-Man was announced. The release date was announced. Chad, take us through that, because I know you're very excited.
Oh, man. Spider-Man coming September 7th.
I hope it's in December.
Oh, I already got that shit pre-ordered. I got that digital deluxe edition, so that Spider-Man pin will be coming to me in the next 1 to 10 weeks, apparently.
That's such a huge range.
I know, right? 1 to 10 weeks. Oh, man. And it is, what else was there about it? I forgot. I just got so excited about the release date.
You're fine. There are tons of outfits they're showing off.
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to have...
Yeah.
Apparently, at the beginning of the game, you're going to have your kind of traditional standard Spider-Man suit because it's not an origin story. He is already Spider-Man. He's a man. He's not even in high school anymore. Peter Parker, that is. But you can get tons of different outfits. And Game Informer said they saw 12 on like a menu screen, and they said we were trying to count them. But then the developer showing off the game just said, "Don't bother counting them. This isn't even close to the amount that we have in the game."
Yeah.
So there's probably a ton of different outfits. And what's cool about the outfits is, let's say that you like the punk outfit, which has this guitar ability where you can send a shockwave out, but you don't like you like that ability, but you don't like that suit. You like the standard Spider-Man suit. You can swap the abilities.
Yeah.
So you can say, I want this suit with these abilities. They want you to kind of find your own Spider-Man, which is kind of cool.
I kind of like, have you ever seen the Spider-Man Noir?
They are going to do that one.
Yeah.
That's going to be in there.
That's going to be in there. I like that look.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen that look before, but I can imagine what it looks like. It sounds pretty awesome.
You know what else got announced?
What else got announced?
Spyro the Drew Gown.
About
Remastered trilogy. Reignited trilogy, excuse me.
It's a better name than Treasure Trilogy. That was the rumored title.
Treasure? Was that really the thing?
That was the rumored title, yeah.
Yeah, it got announced after being leaked and teased for so long. It just like, shut up and release it already.
I think every week for the past month on this show, we've been talking about Spyro. Yep. But it's good marketing because you've been talking about it.
That's right. So it is officially announced coming in, this is also September, right?
September 21st, I believe.
Coming on PS4, Xbox One, PC, question mark? That's all that it was announced for. But
there's one more.
And then Nintendo, on their UK site, for a good chunk of that day, had a listing for it coming to Nintendo Switch. And it had, on Nintendo Switch, play this. And all, like, it was technically Spyro the Dragon Remastered, I think was the name of it. On the Nintendo site. I see
it's Spyro the Dragon Remastered. But they do say on the page, and actually we saved the page so we're able to see it. It says all 3 games, play them in glorious HD. And the fact that it came on Nintendo's website means this is official. If it was like Amazon France or something like that, it'd be like they probably got wrong information. But Nintendo's not going to post that if they don't know for sure.
Yeah. I find that really weird that they announced that Nintendo announced Crash coming multi-platform at their Direct, but then they didn't even get a mention of this in the reveal.
I think it's a good point to bring up. I think one of two things could have happened. One is they were going to announce it, at that event, just like they announced Dark Souls first, and then it came to everyone else.
Yeah.
But then Spyro or Activision kind of decided maybe Nintendo's at the right place to announce Spyro, since it was really a PlayStation franchise primarily. But Nintendo still wanted to have the announcement themselves.
But then,
so I'm sure
why...
at E3 we'll see it, because they're control freaks, and they're just
so they don't even let Activision say, "Oh, by the way, it's also coming to Switch."
I guess not.
That's stupid.
It is stupid. It's really stupid. But Nintendo does stupid things like that. I love them, but they're really stupid.
It's like that. Let's move on. Let's speak
to other people that are stupid here. Let's talk about Boss Key, who made Lawbreakers, that hit game everyone played.
Why are they stupid?
They're not stupid. I just wanted to say they're stupid.
That was really rude of you.
Cliff Bleszinski is a very talented developer. He made Gears of War. That's pretty huge. Yeah. So they basically acknowledged in an open letter that, hey, Lawbreakers was not what we wanted it to be, or it didn't play out the way we wanted it to be. And they didn't say they're moving on. They just said, hey, we're going to fix this, but we don't have the resources to do that. So we're going to release this new game in the meantime to kind of help with that. And they didn't say what the game was. And then literally days later, they announced what the game was. And it's another Battle Royale game called Radical Heights. Did you see this at all?
I didn't see the game, but I heard about it.
So basically, it's like an 80s themed, takes place in this weird version of Hollywood that's inside of a dome. And I guess the big draw is that you are getting cash, putting in ATMs to store your money, and then if you kill guys before they get to their ATM, then you take their money and their equipment and stuff.
But it is a Battle Royale game.
It is a Battle Royale game, yeah. And it's actually already been launched as well. It is already out.
It's like, hey, by the way, it's out today.
It's early access, though. And people are kind of saying... I looked at Steam to see what people were saying. It was mostly negative. But I think it's just because there's a really high bar when someone like Cliff Bleszinski releases a game. And because it's early access, it's obviously not completed. And they said that within the year, they want to take it out of early access. So I'm assuming at around this time next year, we'll see it out of early access. But hey, good for them for, getting something else out there, because Lawbreakers didn't hit the way they wanted it to. They are trying to avoid right now a pay-to-win model, which is that they had to take... they gave you cash for a founder's pack that you could get, which is like a starter pack basically, but the cash gives you an advantage in the game. So they kind of rolled the wheels back on that one a little bit. So they stopped doing that. They want to be very careful about how they handle this, because a lot rides on this for them. So
I really appreciate the transparency there.
I really do too.
Hey, listen, we got this game, didn't do like we wanted. We want to fix it, but we got to make money somehow for us to do that. So here's this game we made.
For me to roll the wheels back a little bit. They're not stupid. They're very smart and honest people.
They are, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like they're like, I can't pay for college, so I'm going to do sex work on the side to pay my way through college.
Don't tell my life story, Chad. I really don't appreciate it. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed right now.
Well, stop being so bare-assed to get yourself through college. Get it? Bare-assed? Bare-assed? Because sex stuff usually happens naked. Usually.
Can we talk about the biggest news story of the week? I mean, this is huge news.
Holden, will you tell me about the biggest news story of the week?
I'm so excited to tell you about the amazing, groundbreaking announcements at Inside Xbox today.
Oh, yes. This is the one that they've been teasing. There was going to be a huge backwards compatibility update.
Huge backwards compatibility update.
Tell me about it.
They're going to have 20 Xbox games, OG Xbox games.
19.
And 19, 20. Ooh, even better, 19.
19, yes.
Including such classics as Blinks, Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2, with no microtransactions.
Great.
And the Knights of the Old Republic 2, which I think it's funny they do that one, because aren't people bigger fans of the first one, and the second one was kind of
KOTOR actually already is backwards compatible.
This is KOTOR 2.
I know, but I think the first one is already backwards compatible.
Oh, is it? Okay, gotcha. Yeah. That would make sense then.
But there's also Panzer Dragoon Orta.
I'm going to pull up the full list right now. Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind's going to be there. Jade Empire. I've actually always wanted to play Jade Empire.
Well, now you just got to get an Xbox and then buy Jade Empire backwards compatibility, and then you can play it.
It's not worth it. There are a lot of Star Wars games: Star Wars Jedi Academy, Star Wars Jedi Starfighter, Star Wars Republic Commando. There's a lot of Star Wars games.
Star Wars, man.
Star Wars. They also announced that there's going to be some 360 games that are going to be up-res for Xbox One X, including Darksiders, Gears of War 2, Portal 2, Red Dead Redemption, Sonic Generations, and Star Wars The Force Unleashed. So these are not bad games to bring, but I wouldn't call it a groundbreaking announcement.
Yeah, this is not a huge backwards compatibility. Maybe they said, oh, by the way, we're bringing over Nintendo's Virtual Console to Xbox One.
That would have been
maybe
massive.
Then. I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of anything off the top of my head.
Here's the thing, is that I think Inside Xbox, conceptually, is a great idea. I think it's totally from Nintendo's playbook. The Nintendo Directs have worked very well for Nintendo. Complete control over your messaging, release them whenever you want to. Unfortunately, they decided to do this at a time where they have nothing to say.
Yep.
So when I hear Inside Xbox now, I'm going to go, groan.
Yeah,
I'm not into that. But when I hear a Nintendo Direct, and a lot of this because I'm a Nintendo fanboy, I get super excited. But I know they have a precedent of having pretty good announcements at Directs. Like, they do Directs and they have something to say. And Xbox is like, every month we're going to do this, regardless if we have something to say or not. And guess what? We're launching with nothing. We have nothing.
Yep.
And it's a huge letdown, especially when they need good messaging right now.
They do. We'll see if that happens at E3.
They have to.
Oh, Holden, did you know that God of War is getting some customization tools where you can customize the difficulty and the user interface? So
Yeah,
you can, if you want a more cinematic experience, you can turn off some of the pieces of the UI.
Mm-hmm. And it's not an all off, all on. You can really decide what you want to show up, like what's actually helpful to you. Which I think is pretty nice, especially for a game that, from what I've seen of it, is really cinematic looking. And I honestly prefer a HUD-less game whenever possible. I play Breath of the Wild that way. I think one of the biggest draws of Dead Space is the fact that they just blend the HUD into the game itself. Like,
yeah.
I think it works so much better to immerse you. Nothing makes me feel like I'm playing a game than mini-maps, and health bars is fine, but just like seeing, like, here's the temperature outside and here's how much noise you're making, and it's like, no, take all of that out. I know
you
that
don't
if
like
I crouch,
The Legend of
I'm
Zelda
quieter.
Breath of the Wild?
No, I just told you I played that without that stuff on. You can turn it off.
Hold on, I don't listen to this podcast.
You haven't listened to this whole podcast, Chad.
Ah.
The difficulty is pretty funny. Do you want to read off the difficulty settings? Do you have them?
No, I don't have it pulled up. I'm just looking at the notes.
I got it. So they have the easiest mode is called Give Me a Story. Then they have Give Me a Balanced Experience, Give Me a Challenge, and then the toughest one is Give Me God of War. And in that mode, you can't change the difficulty after you set it. So if you're at a boss, it's been super difficult. You're fucked. You got to go back to the very beginning and start again on whatever you want us to play as.
Do you know that I have the Platinum Trophy in every God of War game, aside from Ascension? But that always includes it always includes beating on the hardest difficulty, and it's always like, oh, this is so fucking frustrating. But I love it.
Are you going to start on hardest difficulty, or are you going to play it multiple times?
No. I play it. I always play games regular first, just to I'm going to get a feel for the game and the story and appreciate the game, and then I go back and grind and do whatever the fuck I want.
It's going to be pretty cool.
Oh, okay. So this one here, I didn't realize this. The Vive Pro. Are you listening to me? Are you listening to me?
You broke up for a second. What are you saying? One more time?
The Vive Pro.
Yes.
I didn't realize how much this actually cost, because we talked about it a couple of weeks ago whenever we were talking about pre-orders and pricing. Yes. But the Vive Pro doesn't actually come with the controllers and the base station and things like that the original did. So you're paying $800 for just the headset. So they're assuming that a bunch of people. So everyone was complaining. They're like, "Oh my god, I got to pay an extra $550 for everything else that I need in order to use this." If you didn't have the original Vive, so Valve responded. HTC responded and said, "Hey, so we've got another kit that rather than paying $550 for it, we're now only having you pay $300 So the total cost comes to $1,100." I was like, God damn, that is so expensive for a VR headset.
And it sounds better, but it doesn't sound that much better.
No.
You still have to buy the wireless adapter separately, and I guess it's it feels like they're marketing this towards just the traditional regular Vive Pro for $800 for people who already have a Vive Pro and bought one last year.
Vive, not Vive Pro.
Oh, yes, right. It's meant to say just regular Vive. No, I kind of feel like Vive Pro is for someone who didn't like the current VR experience. It wasn't high resolution enough for them. Now they want to jump into it.
Yeah.
I just don't see there's a huge market of people who have already bought Vive and are ready to buy a Vive Pro and are ready for the next thing. This isn't the next thing. It's very strange. And $1,100 is ridiculous for a VR headset.
So much. In addition to the PC you need to run it.
Well, the PCs to run it generally start at around $1,000.
Right?
So this is more than the PC.
Yep.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
Not worth it. You are getting a little bit more. You're getting an extended 1-year subscription offer for the Vive port, which is where it's like a game service for Vive itself, as well as $100 of Vive port credit.
Great.
So you get that too.
Okay.
Now, do you know who has money to burn?
That was worth the $2,100 I just spent on this VR rig.
Well, there's not many people who can afford a Vive Pro starter bundle, but do you know who can afford it?
Who?
Apparently Rockstar, because they made a killing on Grand Theft Auto 5.
Another great transition from Holden to Poo-Poo.
It doesn't match your first one, though. You can't beat that.
Nothing matches...
So this story really blew me away. GTA 5 has earned $6 billion since it came out in 2013. It's the most profitable piece of entertainment ever. More than any movie, any book, any CD, anything.
Titanic, fuck it. Avatar, fuck it. Nope.
No,
both
seriously.
of those together, fuck them.
Here's how well it did. It did, and I put this in a note on here because this was insane. It's GTA 5 alone sold as many copies as GTA 4, GTA San Andreas, GTA Vice City, and GTA 3 combined. It sold the same amount as the last 4 GTA games.
But GTA 2 sold like crazy.
It's just really impressive. Granted, GTA 5 did come out on Xbox 360 and PS3, and then a year later it came out on PS4 and Xbox One.
And then
so
like 2 years later
was released
on
twice.
PC. Or maybe a year later on PC.
Yeah. So it had a few kind of staggered releases. But either way, I mean, it sold 90 million units.
It's insane.
That's crazy. And the analyst who looked at this literally compared it to Mario and said, okay, well, Mario as a franchise has still sold more, but no individual Mario game has ever come close to selling that many games. No game has ever come close to selling that many units. It's really impressive. So good on them.
Great. Holden, these last 4 quests in our quest log I know nothing about, so I'm going to let you talk for a while.
Yeah, sure. I like talking. That's no problem. Can you transition for each one for me, though?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we have IOI, who are IO Interactive, who makes Hitman. They're celebrating 20 years this year. And just some points that were interesting that were notable and they were kind of press release for this. They have 12 million Hitman players. That's not in total for the franchise. That's for the current game.
Nice.
That's really, really good. They also just last week hit their most players online. And I think it's probably because the Sapienza update that came out for free, or the summer pack that came out for free, spring pack, blah, that came out for free. And they also announced the Hitman Definitive Edition. It's going to come out May 15th and kind of include all the DLC and all that stuff.
They just partnered with a new publisher, which is why they're doing the definitive edition, right?
Look that up for me.
Because they're not with Square Enix anymore, obviously.
No, they're not. I thought they were independent now.
WB is now the new publisher as of 7 days ago.
Oh, interesting. Good for them.
You know what that means? We could have Batman in Hitman.
Oh, that would be sick. I actually already get like a Batman without a costume vibe from it because you're just having to blend in and take guys out quickly. And
Bat boner.
It's great. And you do better in the game if you don't kill people. Just like Batman, he doesn't have to kill people.
Shit.
So basically, Agent 47 is
Batman
secretly Bruce Wayne.
Killing Gary Busey.
Other stories that are interesting this week. We have Square explains the Dragon Quest XI delay for Switch and 3DS.
Tell me about that. What the fuck's up with this?
This is really interesting, actually. So they announced... Dragon Quest XI was the first game announced for Switch. At the time, it was called NX, and they did this in 2015. They announced Dragon Quest XI, and they showed the PS4 logo, and it just said Nintendo NX.
Yeah, it did.
And they did this because they liked the concept behind the game, and they knew they were making an Unreal Engine, and they knew that Unreal Engine was coming to Switch, but they hadn't actually made the development tools for Unreal on Switch yet. So they weren't able to work on the game at all by that time they announced it.
Gotcha.
And they had to wait for development tools to catch up, which delayed production quite a bit.
Gotcha.
Which was
all right.
that's just really crazy to me. Like
that's why 11's coming west this year, and then Switch is like, well, we don't know.
No, basically, they've even said so much as, where's the quote? We felt like the best approach was to present the PlayStation 4 and Steam version of the game as the main one. Basically saying, we don't know how the Switch version is going to turn out, so we just like the concept. We want something on Switch. That's kind of the vibe I got.
Cool.
From that. I usually like to say I'm going to buy games on Switch over any other console if I have the option. That statement has me concerned that the Switch version's not going to be as good. But they are not bringing 3DS to the West because this is a strange reason. We started talking about Dragon Quest XI in the West. We really wanted to give the series a fresh start with Western audiences. I don't know why that doesn't mean it can't be on 3DS, but that's the reason.
Because 3DS is ugly.
Yeah, maybe they just don't want to put the effort into localizing that version of the game, even though it should be the same. I guess you still have to recode it and all that. But maybe that they just wouldn't want to do the localization. Either way, I'm in support of no more games coming to 3DS.
Yes.
Move away 3DS, so I don't have a problem with that.
Yes.
2 more stories we got. PUBG is suing a Chinese developer, NetEase, for copyright infringement.
Sue him, man.
This kind of goes in the whole... I feel like PUBG is in a shitty spot where they kind of invented this genre of game, and then Fortnite just stole the thunder.
Yeah.
And it's doing a lot better. And they're kind of going after this Chinese developer now because they feel like they copied them. And to be fair, I've seen the screenshot, and PUBG's a really good case.
Well, I mean, in China, there's like no copyright laws in China, right? Or something like that?
Yeah, it's an issue in China, yeah. I'm not sure the exact law is, but it's definitely an issue. The games start off the same, where you start in a plane and all 100 characters parachute from the plane down onto the island. It's the exact same premise. There are side-by-side screenshots on IGN if you guys want to view this article. So you parachute down, you find these little loot crates to get your items. The loot crates look almost identical. The difference, however, it's a red crate with a blue top in PUBG, and in the version in China, which is called, what was it again? Rules of Survival.
Oh.
It's a red crate with a green top on it.
But see, that's a completely different game.
It's a completely different game.
That's a Christmas game.
Apparently, they also use the term winner, winner, chicken dinner in its Rules of Survival as well.
Although, like, PUBG
it's not a
PUBG
thing, but it's... Yeah, if you're going to make a Battle Royale game and you use that phrase, PUBG did that already.
Yeah.
So they're kind of pissed. They're suing. I'm not sure what the results of it going to be because it's a Chinese-based company, but I thought that was notable. When I first saw the headline, my thought was, are they suing every company that's not Fortnite because they at least want to limit the competition? But it doesn't seem to be the case. I think they have a legitimate case here.
Yeah.
It's very much a carbon copy of PUBG.
Altered Carbon on Netflix, not a good show. Unpopular opinion.
I think it's a popular opinion. I don't think people liked that show.
Is it?
Yeah.
Everything I've heard, people are like, oh my god, this show is weird and great. And I watched an episode and I was like, it looks cool. Bad writing, bad acting. Don't care about it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet either. One more story this week. And that's at iSpot.tv. They were working with GamesBeat, and they released some ad impression information for basically for TV spots and things like that on all the gaming companies. And PlayStation, I'm trying to find the article right now, PlayStation and Nintendo were number 1 and number 2. Xbox didn't even make the top 5. The other 3 were companies I hadn't even heard of. But when I saw their games, I knew their games. So number 1 was PlayStation. They had, a third of the impressions overall with 620 million impressions through advertising. Nintendo had 499, and at third we had King. King makes Candy Crush, and they had 452. Let me know if you know these other 2 games: InnoGames and YouCool.
I mean, I am cool, but what's the other game studio?
YouCool, letter U, cool. Was the other one. And it's a huge drop-off. So King had 452 million impressions, InnoGames had 132 impressions, and YouCool had 58 million impressions. So a massive drop-off on the 4 and 5, which means that Xbox is below this, which means they're nowhere near close to where Nintendo and PlayStation are. And I think this really has to do less with people not caring about Xbox and more that Xbox is not advertising on TV as much as PlayStation and Nintendo is. And again, they need to get out there and talk about stuff because they're not selling their consoles.
I mean, they don't have anything. They don't have anything to advertise right now.
Why aren't they advertising KOTOR 2 coming to Xbox One?
Blinks the Time Cat.
I just imagine that they're holding back until they can announce the new console, and they're going to have this huge marketing blitz.
Yeah,
but I still think they need to be in the zeitgeist in some way. Like, to not be in the top 5 is crazy to me. I mean, when I think of 3 gaming companies, I think of Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft.
I think you mean they're going to have a marketing blinks, the Time Cat. Oh!
Crazy. Ready for the main quest, Chad?
Oh my god, yeah.
What a great transition that was.
Your transition is sloppy.
So, we have a main quest that's more of us having a rebuttal to information more than talking about information.
I like the rebuttal, yeah.
It's a rebuttal. So, in the past week, there's been a lot of heavy rumors, not heavy, but like it's been talked about, of PS5 coming out this year, and some specs were released alongside that, and we basically want to parse through the bullshit.
Parse through, tell you guys, listen, these are why you're a fucking idiot if you believe that.
It's just a ridiculous rumor. So the rumor is that PlayStation 5 is coming out this year, and I have the specs listed as well. The specs are all... I don't know much about computer specs, so I based the specs on pricing.
Note the source.
Who was the source again?
These come from an insider source.
Yes.
That was leaked to a blog. Oh shit! It starts with an S. It's a subscription based blog that you read.
Yes. Semi-accurate.
Semi-accurate.
Yeah.
Trustworthy
source, it sounds like.
Yeah, a subscription-based blog costs $1,000 a year to have access to this.
Mm-hmm.
But the same source, go ahead and list it. The same source mentions these tech specs as well as the release date rumor on it.
Yeah. And to be fair, the insider that Semi-Accurate was using has predicted things correctly in the past, down to the PS4 and Xbox One specs, and also the fact that Nintendo Switch is going to run off of Tegra. Like, they've leaked that information, so they don't have a terrible track record, but that track record means nothing against these ridiculous rumors. Like, they're absolutely ridiculous. So, to start with, going through the specs here, it's going to have an AMD Zen 8-core processor. I'll talk about pricing and all this in a second. It's going to have a GPU capable of 14 teraflops, which I think the Xbox One is 6 teraflops, or One X is 6 teraflops, I believe. So huge step up there. That's the AMD Navi graphics, which is their next step on the current line, which is called Vega.
What's interesting to note, I just want to note this, we'll talk about it later, the AMD Navi graphics is slated to release later this year in 2018, like fall
in August,
2018.
Yeah. Memory is 32 gigabytes at GDDR6. They're on R5 right now. Did you even know R6 is out? Because I went to look up R6 RAM. It's not even out. So again, this is something that's in the future. It's going to have storage of, and this is one of the more ridiculous ones to me, storage of 1 terabyte. That's an SSD.
Nope.
And that's just, all those components cost so much. So I looked up the component cost of all these. If you were to buy it from Newegg or something like that. Now, granted, PlayStation or Sony's going to have a good deal on these components.
Right, they make deal with manufacturers for mass production. They get discounts and things like that. But
the discrepancy is not going to be as great as what I'll explain to you right here. So on the low end, that AMD 8-core Zen processor, if you were to buy a low-end version of that, it's $275. The high end is $450. You're already in the price range of what the console should be right there.
And that's just the processor.
It's just the processor. So then you go to the GPU. The GPU, the Navi's not out yet, so you can't compare it to Navi, but the Vega line, which is the current line, is $650, which is already more expensive. Like, they're not going to release a $600 system because you know how well that worked for them last time. This is not going to happen.
Plus, all of those GPUs are more expensive because of Bitcoin now.
Yes, exactly. Although that actually, I'll talk about that in a second. That actually won't be a factor for PlayStation. I'll explain that in a second. But the memory is 32 gigabytes. again, GDDR6 is not out yet, but I was able to find pricing for DDR4, and that starts at $350 on average. Then you're going to have the storage, which I thought this was going to be more expensive than it turned out to be, but it's still too expensive for a PlayStation. The 1 terabyte SSD is going to be $200 to $250 on the low end. So in total, you're looking at, to make that PC, if it were a PC, would be anywhere from $1,475 to $1,700. And that doesn't include the enclosure. It doesn't include the controller. It doesn't include anything else. Just those 4 components. Like, there's just no way. It's absurd. Yeah. And especially if it's coming out this year. It just can't handle it. 2 years from now, maybe the price of that stuff goes down, but not by $1,000. It just doesn't make any sense.
More than $1,000 it would need to come down by.
And you brought up a good point, which is the fact that the graphics cards cost a lot of money. One thing to note about that is that when Nintendo or Xbox or PlayStation, they're going to go get graphics cards.
Yep.
They actually work with AMD or whatever manufacturer they go to make a spec specifically for them. They do like a special order essentially. So that's not eating up into like desktop PC graphics cards at all.
Right.
That's a separate thing. Like, they make a special order. They make a special chip that's custom designed for their product. It's kind of like how when Apple has their like A series chips, they're really coming from Samsung or Texas Instruments, but they create, like, Apple creates the spec and what they want, and then Texas Instruments and Samsung make it for them. It's kind of like that. So that wouldn't interfere too much, but either way, like, these specs are insane.
Yeah, especially since the GPU doesn't even release until when they said the console was going to release.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, good transition to the Jason Schreier article on Kotaku.
Yes.
If all of this were true and is coming out in fall, this console would need to be being manufactured right now.
Yeah.
Would have need to have started before now.
I love this article. It's a fantastic article. You guys should check it out. I mean, Jason Schreier is asking his insiders what they thought. They laughed at him.
And these insiders are 2 insiders from developers, game developers.
Yeah, game developers. They laughed at him, like the idea of it coming out this year. I've always, and I think we've been in agreement, we were thinking 2019.
Yeah.
He's saying 2020 is the more accurate number, most likely.
I mean, yeah, if these are the components, yeah, it's got to be 2020 for the pricing on them.
Yeah. But I think that, I don't think the specs are super out of line necessarily, because something you have to consider too is that, let's say that this is what Sony was sending out. This is what Sony was giving developers in their developer kits. A developer kit is always more powerful than the console that ships.
Right.
They want to give you a little bit more power. That way you can... It's easier to develop a game, essentially. It's easier to go overboard than it is to go underboard and work up. So you go overboard and work down, essentially. So you kind of have a more powerful console to support that. So even if they said 32 gigabytes of storage, that really might mean 16 gigs it ships on the main console. Do you know how much RAM the PS3 had? I want to say it was 512 megabytes.
Yeah, something tells me it was something like that, and then they went crazy and put 8 in the PS4.
Yeah.
But yeah, 512 sounds right. And then I think the Xbox 360 had 1 gigabyte, maybe? Let me see. I'm going to look that up real quick.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was 512. And I think that's where I kind of look at the 32 gigs of memory and say maybe, because it was such a huge jump in memory from PS3 to PS4, that 8 to 32 is actually a smaller jump, technically speaking, than 512 megabytes to 8 gigabytes of memory. But you can also argue that they don't need 32. Like 16 could be enough, but we also don't know what they're going for. If the next console is going to be heavy 4K visuals, which I think is more or less certain. I mean, I don't know what kind of boundary they pass that's not 4K for the next console, but 32 might be the number. I think that sounds somewhat feasible if it came out in 2 years.
Yeah. I did find it. Both PS3 and 360 had 512.
Yeah.
However, the 360, the reason theirs ran smoother is they had that 512 that was more shared by the entire system as well as the games. So that's why you had better like anti-aliasing and things like that on it. Gotcha.
That makes sense.
Dead ass though.
There was something else in this Jason Schreier article I wanted to talk about. He did say there are PS5 kits out there.
Yeah, they might, like, people at the developer, like, people at the offices of the developers might not even know, because in Sony practices, they usually send out very early dev kits and say, keep this in a locked room, and only a few handful of people are able to go in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure there are a select few developers out there. I'm sure Naughty Dog has one to play around with. I'm sure Insomniac. I'm sure a lot of the first party studios and maybe a couple third party ones have these dev kits to kind of play around with. Mm-hmm. I'm sure Death Stranding is going to be somehow taking advantage of this.
Yeah, they to be fair, they did say that Death Stranding, when we saw it, was running on a PS4 Pro.
Yeah,
but this also could be like a dual release. Who knows?
Right.
That's very possible.
Yes, I'm sure they're out there, but they're nowhere near the stage that this is the model, this is what we're going with for our system. Yeah. Here are the dev kits available for anyone who wants it.
Precisely. Another thing to consider, too, is, like, why would PlayStation release a new... Or I keep saying PlayStation, it's really Sony, I should be saying Sony. Why would Sony release a new console when PlayStation 4 is still selling super well?
It's so good, right?
It's selling great. Like, why would they mess with that? Like, messy things happen in a transition between generations.
Yep.
PS2 to PS3, Xbox 360 to Xbox One. Like, messy things happen in the transitions. Don't fuck with that if you don't have to fuck with that. It just doesn't make any sense. But I think this is kind of a good time to talk about, like, okay, well, then how do you know what rumors to trust?
Yeah. Why do bad rumors spread? How do you know what to trust?
What do you think, Chad?
Well, here's why I think they spread. I think it's because nobody fucking reads anything anymore.
What are you talking about? We're Americans, Chad.
We read the headlines. I mean, look, we even have a thing called Fetch Quest where we literally just read headlines. Nobody reads anything anymore. And if you, the videos discussing it, that you sent me a link to a video discussing it, and like the headlines of the articles, everything is saying, could we see a PlayStation 5 in 2018 ? And that's the headline. Yeah. And then you actually listen to it and you're like, oh, fuck no. Look at these specs. Look at this release timetable. Mm-hmm. This is absolutely not going to happen. But nobody actually looks at the content. But everyone sees these headlines and they're like, okay, oh man, that's crazy. Is that actually a thing? I don't know. They said it on this $1,000 tech blog. And then that spreads like wildfire. And then next thing you know, everyone's like, well, I'm not going to buy a PlayStation 4 because PlayStation 5 is coming this year.
I think it's excitement as well. Like, people want it to come out. Like, I would be super pumped if a PlayStation 5 came out in 2018. I want to see what it's like. I'm very excited for that. So when I hear that, I'm like, ooh, giddy. I get all excited and all that. But then it's like, okay, then you have to look at it from Sony's perspective. Like, why would they do that? But people don't think that way, and I don't think it's a fault of anyone. I don't expect people to always think like, oh, Nintendo is going to announce a new Zelda game. I wonder what this means for their bottom line and like how they're currently selling other games like Metroid. And no one's thinking like that. They just think, right, I want to buy that. It's exciting. Cool. I can't wait to get it as soon as possible. It's also just easy because this information could come from anywhere.
Yeah.
Anyone can say anything.
Part of parsing, like, how do we figure out what's legit and what's not, is find your trusted sources. Mm-hmm. Like, if ever I know that there's something crazy and some like weird speculative thing, or like some breakout story, like I'll be like, okay, I'll wait until I see what Jason Schreier has to say about it on Kotaku, or I'll wait until I see about it from my favorite editor on IGN or something like that. Like, find your trusted news sources, and if it's coming from a website called like PlayStation
Nintendo
Controller
Life.
Buddies, like
Nintendo Life, if they do like nothing against Nintendo Life, but if they have like crazy Switch rumor or something like that.
And if they are some, like, Nintendo Life is the only person that ever got a hold of these rumors, and there's something fishy there.
Not even that, but, like, Nintendo Life is specifically... And again, I've used Nintendo Life articles for the show before. They're only doing Nintendo content. They need to get content on their site. If you're doing, like, all, consoles, it's easier to say, okay, we're only going to put the stories we know are 100% accurate because we have that wider range to work with. Whereas when you have like a narrow range like just Nintendo or just Sony or just Xbox, you kind of have to put more things out there that might kind of just be clickbaity or catchy.
Right.
And like something to look out for too.
Search for other article, like if you see something from a particular news source, like, man, that sounds crazy. Can that be real? Search for other things about it, because likely in this particular example, let's say Nintendo Life hears this crazy rumor about the Switch, and no one else is reporting on that. Think about why that is. I'm sure Nintendo Life is not the only person that picked up on that tip, but other people might have been like, oh, well, yeah, we heard that, and we got it debunked, or it didn't come from enough trusted sources. Like, search around, do a little bit of research yourself.
Yeah.
It's worth it to not fuck with your friends' heads and hopes.
But to use the, I would say this, to use the Nintendo Life as an example, like being a huge Nintendo fan, I like delving into what the rumors are saying and like what, Metroid could possibly be. Like there's something wrong with the headline. Like I actually put down a list here of early Switch rumors where it's going to be more powerful than the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I don't know if it's true or not, but as a Nintendo fan, it's really exciting to think about that kind of stuff. So it's not that those articles don't have their place. You just need to take it with a grain of salt and be skeptical. I think it's really about being skeptical more than anything. Yeah. But it's still fun to talk about those rumors.
It's definitely fun to speculate. I think that's different. Yeah. Like speculation is like a fun, like, oh my gosh, who do you think is going to be in Smash Brothers? Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Like that kind of stuff is fun.
But there's a difference between an article that says, here are 5 Smash Bros. Characters we'd like to see, and we found out 5 Smash Bros. Characters they're going to be in the 2018 release.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's looking, and I think you nailed it too, it's looking for multiple sources. If it's true, generally you see multiple sources. But a caveat on that is a lot of the times what happens is, so-and-so reports that PlayStation 5 is coming out in 2018, and then all these outlets pick it up because it's gaining traction and getting clicks, and therefore bringing in advertising dollars, and they all quote back to that same source.
Yep.
And they generally are pretty open about it. No one will say, like, we got that information independently. They generally say, hey, we got it from semi-accurate in this case. And they are all quoting semi-accurate. And it's looking for those instances as well. The other one is because I follow a lot of YouTubers and like Twitter accounts that are like Insider and that kind of stuff. And you'll hear a lot of the times, oh, someone sent me this information anonymously. How do you know that anonymous person is legit or not? I could tweet at any of these people and say, I know that Switch 2 is in the works right now, and it's going to come out next year.
Ooh.
And it's going to launch the brand new Zelda game.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Switch 2 coming next year with new Zelda.
I think there's also an element of too good to be true. A lot of these fake rumors tend to be too good to be true. Such as Nintendo 6 console is going to be as powerful as PS4 and Xbox One. And that was so far from the truth. But so many people want that from Nintendo.
Yeah.
That it's kind of like, oh, this is exactly what people want to hear. If we release this article, it'll get clicks.
Yeah.
Bippity boppity boo.
So, good chat. Good chat.
Good chat. I'd say good chat. I'm really excited to play my PlayStation 5 at the end of this year.
Me too. I've already pre-ordered it. It's actually coming out with Spider-Man.
Yep, I actually gave GameStop my $5 to put down on it already.
Oh, speaking of rumors and speculation, next week we're going to be rumoring and speculating. That's a thing. Those are words. We're going to be doing that about some crazy E3 predictions and speculation.
Kind of a fun, probably not going to happen, just wild predictions for E3.
So wild, like the game Wild. Will that turn up in our expectations? Who knows?
It has to. It's going to be game of the year.
They revealed it 2 years ago, and then nothing ever has come from it.
I think it was even farther than 2 years ago.
Was it? Maybe it was 3 years ago for something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they had that naked snake lady. All right. Any subscriber interrogatives? Nope.
No.
Nope. Holden, what color is my bedspread? All of our subscriber interrogatives will be bedding related. That's my interrogative.
I don't know what color your bedspread is. I can't see it, and it's been so long since I've been in your room.
Great. That is the wrong answer. Check in next week for the right answer.
I'm going to guess magenta.
It's blue.
Magenta.
It's light blue on one side, navy blue on the other side.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Oh, man. Remember, everybody, you've got until the 15th of April, less than a week from now, to submit for photo mode for a chance to win $20. You can't let Jerson run away with these $20. He won one of the photo modes last month. This kid's going to have all your money. So give him some competition. Metro 2033 is our BARF, Backlog Accomplishments with Respawn and Friends. 2 weeks from now on the 24th, I believe, will be that episode. And that's it. God of War's coming out on the 20th, so everybody blaze up on 420 and play some God of War. But seriously, on 420, Be completely sober for that game because you need to suck in all of its glory. And Holden, do you have anything else to say before we leave?
I mean, you just ended it so well that I can't add anything else to that.
All right, everyone. Have a good night and stop killing birds.